Trevor Lawrence delivered. It was a little bit late, but it was on time. It's Victory Monday here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is, in fact, your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast that you can find wherever you get your podcast. Just make sure you tap in each and every day so you do not miss an episode. And shout out to the everydayers that join us each and every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We definitely appreciate you being here and do not take your time for granted. And if you're new, I'm glad that you also have joined us for this episode, which is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, that's what we're going to do, man. We're going to move something today here on this Victory Monday for all of you Jaguar fans that are feeling good at the water cooler if you did go to work. I know a lot of people partied real hard yesterday as the Jaguars win a hard-fought 17-10 game versus the Houston Texans. Here's what we're going to do here today. We're going to eventually get to I told you so. And I don't do that often, but when I'm right about something, I'm right about something. It's about Travis Hunter. The other thing is in the middle of the show, how gritty is now not the dance gritty, but gritty with T's. Is how I'm going to describe this team until further notice, and I think I actually like it. We're going to start though talking about Trevor Lawrence, how he delivered late, but on time at the same time. I was watching the game yesterday, and I was almost ready to not necessarily give up on Trevor, but give up on the idea and the thought that he was going to be what we all had envisioned and imagined, right? And then he pulled out the win yesterday, and I said, well, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to pause because the last thing you want to do is when a team wins, when we sit here and say winning is the most important thing, and then a team actually does that, is to immediately start whooping on people and beating on people as if winning isn't the most important thing. And, you know, you don't ever want to be a walking contradiction when it comes to that. And the Jaguars have lost their share of games over the years that played out the way this one played out, but the result was a little bit different. It's a team game. It's complementary. And we get that. And that's what happened. The defense stepped up for the offense, and I think that needs to be acknowledged, and that's where we're going to talk about how gritty this team is in segment 2. But right now, I want to talk about Trevor. I like Trevor Lawrence when things get ugly. I like being down 27-0 to the Chargers in the playoffs, and then you just got to reach down and find something. I like Trevor Lawrence that was struggling yesterday in the second half, and then his teammates started dropping the ball when he was delivering it on time, guys other than Brian Thomas Jr. I like the fact that he came up to the line when the game is on the line and changed from a running play and got the team in the right protection and threw a dart to a dude that has been having problems holding on to the ball, not only yesterday, but all season, in Brian Thomas Jr. And they put this team in a position to take to go for a touchdown, which they got from Travis Etienne. I think the Texans let them do it so they could try to get the ball back. But nonetheless, it happened. That showed me something. And I said yesterday, I tweeted out that I was going to reserve judgment and not go where I was going to go until the game happened. So I'm not going to be prisoner of the moment. I'm going to tell you I'm going to still go there, but I'm going to go there in a different way. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think will ever be confused with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he'll ever ascend to that level of quarterback. And that's where we all had him placed. That's where we all had him placed. Even though I was one to pause a little bit on the Prince of Promise and Sunshine and all of this stuff, and the give him the ball and move out the way people. But I do see Trevor getting to another place. And that place is you cannot count him out. He is going to figure it out when things get tough. When you least expect it, he is still going to do the same things that drive you crazy. He's going to actually do it when crunch time happens. So I've only mentioned 2 examples of that, right? 27-0, and then the game yesterday that they won against the Houston Texans. So it may lead some people to say, how could you come to that conclusion just based on those 2 things? It's not just based on those 2 things. I have seen Trevor Lawrence in other games play well down the stretch, and then the team loses because of the defense. Cincinnati. Not just this last time, but the time before that. Trevor Lawrence actually hit Diami Brown right in the hands with a ball, and it would have ended the game. He hit Brian Thomas with a pass right in his chest. Maybe he would have gotten the first down. Maybe he wouldn't have. We don't know. But there always seems to be like this too little, too late type thing. Not with this defense. It's never too little, too late with this defense. I think we're going to see Trevor morph into this guy that just plays better when things get muddy and ugly and at crunch time. And then you're going to be begging to see that version of him all game. And sometimes you'll get it and sometimes you won't. The one thing I can tell you that he's improved on is they have come out on their first drive and moved the ball down the field this year. Those high throws that you used to see early in games, those are gone. They're gone. I think Trevor needs a running game. Trevor needs a good defense. But I think you can win with Trevor. I still believe you can win with Trevor because of that characteristic that he has, that when things are at the absolute worst, he does seem to say, F it, man, let's go. And you want him to tap into that all the time. It's kind of shaping up to be a little Ben Roethlisberger-like. And I'm not talking about the early Roethlisberger. I'm talking about the late Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger, you could beat Pittsburgh up for 3.5 quarters, and all of a sudden, here he comes. And I'm getting the feeling that that's now the landing spot for Trevor. To me, that's the runway I think this thing is headed towards. And I think because they're building the team the way that they're doing, and because they have so many other good players, and they've shown that they know how to find guys who know how to play through the whistle, I just think this team is going to start taking on that. It's a little bit of Blake Bortles, but with more talent. And I hope everybody's tracking with me. And I know you might not be, but I'm starting to get a feeling that Trevor's the dude that just when you think about giving up on him, he does something to make you say, no, don't. Now, that's not the elite dudes that beat you as soon as they come out of the locker room all day long, that you can do absolutely nothing about. But I do think he has a new identity that is like kind of on the horizon a little bit, and I like it. Gritty performance from this team. How I think that's going to be something that we could get used to moving forward. I'll talk about it here in just a second on Locked On Jaguars. All right, today's show brought to you by Prize Picks. The daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. I had Travis Etienne to get 59.5 yards today, and I think he got 58. That's on me. If I had gone more, I'd have some money in my pocket. But that's okay because I get a good chance next week And you can too. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Locked On NFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. It's Prize Picks. It's always good to be right. Tony Wiggins here with Locked On Jaguars, where it is your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. If you guys can't catch the show, you can always find out what's going on with Locked On NFL, Locked On Jaguars, and the Locked On Podcast Network by tapping into our newsletters at Locked On Podcasts with an S.com/newsletter. Great information in that newsletter. But you got me right here today on Locked On Jaguars. I'm talking about this gritty performance that the Jaguars have had now. They're 2-1. A bad pass interference call against Travis Hunter that is in the way of this team being 3-0. Overall, I don't care what you think about individual performances. Travis Hunter, the Jacksonville Jaguars are an improved football team. That's just what it is, and there's nothing else really to dispute about that. They win games now that they would have lost before. They have some of the same characteristics. Obviously, it's the same people, but this defense, while constructed differently, gives you a Saxonville type feeling and vibe. There's some things that they still need to do. They got to tighten up on the penalties. The penalties were a little bit much for the past couple of weeks. The penalties were a little bit much, and they were inopportune. But I don't ever get mad at them for playing hard. And I believe Jordan Lewis is a tone setter when it comes to that. And that offensive line, protecting and blocking when they have to, and Bashal Tootin with how he runs up the middle so hard when he's into the game. And one of the best moves that they could have made was elevating him to running back too. They're just a gritty, grimy team that seems to find a way to get in the way of their opponent when their opponent is trying to make moves. And that's something that has been put into their DNA. Anthony Campanile, especially on the defensive side, about Anthony Campanile is everybody's already talking about losing him. And I never like to have those kind of conversations because I just think that there's too much blue sky left for 2025. But they hit a home run with him as the defensive coordinator. People think he's going to be gone after this year, but I think they really did. And the one thing I like about that is I think they hit a home run with Liam Cohen too, so I think they could hit another home run. So I don't worry about coaches leaving. I mean, coaches have left the Rams all the time. Look at Liam Cohen. I mean, coaches have left the Rams, and they're still one of the best coach teams in the National Football League, and because they know what they're looking for. The one thing I really, really like about this team, man, is that no quit. They play all 60 minutes. They don't always play all 60 minutes the way you want them to play those 60 minutes, but they absolutely do play all 60 minutes. And you can never say they quit. I felt like in the past, especially in recent history, that the team would get to a point where they just look at each other and they'd be like, man, this ain't it. And I don't get that feeling at all with the Jaguars. I see a lot of dudes that take accountability for what they have to do. I see player development. I see young guys when they get their chance, like Antonio Johnson, making the best of those chances. You don't see a lot of pouting. You just see a lot of correction. You see a lot of, I got to do this, I got to do that, even from the quarterback position. It's just like when things are going bad, they can also make a big play on offense and defense. Shout out to Travis Hunter for that big catch he made yesterday on, what was it, second or third and 21, and they get him the ball, and I don't know what kind of move it was. It was like a reverse pivot. It's like, I'm going this way, but nope, I'm not. And then I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to fake you out, and I'm going to juke, and I'm going to get the first down. That was a glimpse of what he can do on offense. Brenton Strange Y'all know I hate move tight ends, and he ain't a move tight end. He is an inline blocking tight end that knows how to catch balls, and he can get open, and he finds the first down marker, and he runs you over. He is probably the most complete tight end, and I know the Mercedes Lewis lovers out there are going to get mad at me for saying this, but he is the most complete tight end I think the Jaguars have had on that roster, maybe since their inception. Pete Mitchell was a pass catcher. Kyle Brady was a blocker who was okay at catching passes. Mercedes Lewis was a pass catcher who could also block now. I think Brenton Strange is a more dangerous pass catcher than Mercedes Lewis. He's a good football player. And I know I've been beating him up since he got here, but I beat up the man that picked him. But if there's one guy on offense that kind of personifies this grit that I'm talking about, that's who it is. And this team is now taking on an identity where they're not really going to look like the Rams or the Vikings the way we thought. They're putting their own imprint on it with the players they have here. Maybe at some point down the line, as the roster continues to develop, that'll be what it is. I think right now the Jaguars are you want to get dirty, we can get dirty. We can take this out back to the alley and we can do it like that. Guys like Joshua Hines-Allen might be having the best year he's ever had, and I don't even think he has a recorded sack yet. Devin Lloyd is playing better than I have ever seen Devin Lloyd play. Devin Lloyd might be a dude that's playing himself into hanging around here too, because I'm seeing a lot of him on the football field, and I thought it was going to be a little mix of everything, but no, he is out there. Eric Murray, to go along with Jordan Lewis, who I got to stop myself from talking about Jordan Lewis so much because of how I feel about him as a player. In the category of what was Dallas thinking, letting him and Michael Parsons go. I just don't have any idea how could you watch professionals like that and not want them to be a part of the DNA of your football team forever. I just don't understand it, and I never will. But both of those guys have been great additions to this team. Dewey Winger, I don't know, right next to Brenton Strange, when you want to talk about gritty, Dewey might be the dude that you put next to him because he gets everything out of what he is, man. And I really do think that these guys playing this way, along with Trevor's propensity to play an ugly game, but then kind of rise up in those key moments, I think it's starting to settle in with me that that's who this team is going to be, that a lot of these games are going to be close and that they'll never be blown out, and they just got to figure out a way to get it done at the end. I was a little concerned yesterday, though, with both the punter and the kicker. My man Cam Little missed a field goal that he normally wouldn't miss that would have probably put this game out of reach. And I don't know what was going on with the punter yesterday, but I don't think he had his best day either. But those things can be fixed. The grit, the determination that this team has played with, even in their loss, but in their 2 wins, in my opinion, bodes well for what we'll see moving forward as they clean up some things that they have to clean up. But it is Victory Monday. But now I'm going to gloat a little bit. I'm going to hit you with a little I told you so about Travis Hunter. And Liam Cohen agreed with it because he said it out of his own mouth that kid can roll out of bed and play corner. Well, he played it, and he played it well yesterday. So I'm going to take a little peacock victory walk in terms of what my player evaluation was with Travis Hunter. We'll talk about it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Mazda. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. That's who Mazda is. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward was an interception late in the game that was caused by pressure and a tip ball from Josh Hines-Allen that allowed the Jaguars to win 17-10. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is the only thing that is at the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to Mazda and their vehicles. Mazda, move or move and be moved. And today's show is brought to you and sponsored by our friends over at FanDuel. Y'all already know that when the NFL season is here, FanDuel is making sure you're ready to kick off with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I'm telling you, you can catch it at the beginning of the game, middle of the game, or even wait till almost at the end of the game and get your bets on, man. That's the way it is at FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Moving and grooving here on Locked On Jaguars on the Victory Monday. The Jaguars are 2-1 after a 17-10 divisional win versus the now 0-3 Houston Texans. The Tennessee Titans are also in the dungeon at 0-3 and looking like that's exactly where they deserve to be. The Indianapolis Colts have surprised me, and I actually picked the Colts to finish last, and they're 3-0 and playing really, really good football for Shane Steichen, their head coach, and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is an early MVP candidate. Did you ever think that those things would come out of your mouth? You probably did not. Travis Hunter, kind of waiting for a little breakout. I talked to my man, Mike Jones from The Athletic. We had a great conversation. I'm a big fan of his work. We were talking about it. And it seems like the things that I described to him and Jared Bell from USA today when they came in town, it seemed like it started to happen yesterday. That it might not be the statistics, but it just might be the impact of winning that Travis Hunter is going to be measured by. Until Brian Thomas Jr. caught that slant for 46, whatever, how many yards it was, the best play of the day had been the Travis Hunter 21-yard reception. That was very, very impactful. And it showed his talent level. But then there were plays on defense where he was on Nico Collins. And remember the question, y'all remember what if Travis Hunter's on offense, what if you're on defense and it's fourth down and Trevor's throwing the ball over there, who's going to come down with it? And he goes Travis Hunter. Well, that was motivated by me thinking about playing the Texans. The Texans have an all-world corner that could be guarding Travis when Travis is at wide receiver. And then they have an all-world wide receiver that Travis would be having to guard. What I was trying to hint at is who's going to have the most success when it's good on good, and the common denominator is you're standing across from him. I've always thought Travis Hunter, the corner, had an advantage over Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, because Travis Hunter, the corner, knows exactly what those receivers are about to do, and he has the instincts. And it almost comes down to, okay, which one of us is going to catch the ball, like Travis Hunter versus Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter, the offensive player, has more things that he needs to depend on, like, an accurate pass from the quarterback, help defense from other people, and the fact that he has to get to his spot with another great player trying to stop it. So just inherently, even if things were the same, I've always thought, and Liam Cohen even said the reason why Travis Hunter spent so much time on offense in training camp and in all of the OTAs was because he thought that that's where he needed the most work to get up to speed. And we see that now with some penalties and lining up and wide receivers, even De'Ami Brown, who's a veteran, all of the shifts and all of that. There's just a lot more to it on offense. So I understand why they attempted to indoctrinate him more offensively. I also think that he's just a natural corner who can play wide receiver. So he's getting a little bit more comfortable at receiver. But I love the fact that he got all greased up at cornerback yesterday because they needed him. They absolutely needed him. And there's a difference. Jarian Jones was not playing terribly. Jarian Jones is not a playmaker. He's sort of a play preventer. Travis Hunter is all of that. When he's out there with a wide receiver, there ain't a wide receiver out there that's more instinctive, that's more twitchy than he is. You can find some that's bigger, But now he is an elite athlete playing corner that has a navigation system that is unreal. So yeah, I'm saying I told you so. And it's not to people that said that disagree that he should have been working over there on offense or spending that much time there. I'm not talking about how they divvied up his minutes, if you will, or his training. That's not the part. I'm not in there. I wouldn't know how to do that if you told me. What I'm talking about are the people who looked at him, that looked at the raw Travis Hunter and said, he is an elite receiver. He is a better receiver prospect than he is a corner prospect. And I'm telling you, I don't know what y'all are watching. That's what this is aimed at. It ain't aimed at the Jaguars and how they decided to use him and how they brought him along and how they onboarded him and what their intention is and all that. No, God bless them. I want it to be successful. This is to those people, and it's not anybody local. It's all those draft dudes that I've been doing the draft for years. There's a lot of people that do this, and I'm glad they say their opinions and speak their opinions, but there's just some things, and sometimes you see a player and you're like, okay, what would make them think that? You have no, I can't even fathom how you could come to that conclusion. Now y'all see what I'm talking about. He could be the best cornerback in the NFL. I don't know if he can be the best wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know if he can be better than Jamar Chase. I don't know if he can be better than Justin Jefferson. He can be as good as Derek Stingley. He could be as good as Patrick Surtain. He might be better than Sauce Gardner already. To be honest, I'm being honest. He is just that good and that different and that and now that he's learning everything the way he's learning it, he's going to still be able to help this team at wide receiver. Travis ain't done at wide receiver, in my opinion. Travis is going to do some nice things at wide receiver. Some really, really good things. Also, real quick, shout out to Tyson Campbell. He had a couple of rough moments early in the season, but Tyson Campbell came up with one of the biggest plays of the game yesterday, and I don't think he's getting enough love, and I beat him up a little bit. So shout out to him, too, for showing the resolve to make those plays. And y'all can look forward to more of that from this team because just like I said earlier, I think grit, like Tom Coughlin said, is where this team's identity is going to be for the time, for right now, for the present. The present, that's what it is. It's going to be a gritty performance until they can get everything going. All right, man, make sure y'all tap in to Locked On NFL each and every day. Your boy has another show. That's right. Locked On NFL comes on twice a day. Tyler Rowland, the Madman, will wake you up like a double shot of espresso, and then I'll slide through in the barbershop. We use the help of local experts to help us navigate around the National Football League and keep your finger on the pulse of the NFL. We'll see y'all tomorrow here on Locked On Jaguars. Take care, and we appreciate you joining us each and every day.